Going into Hyper Light Drifter, I was extremely optimistic about the game. The initial reviews were great, the graphics looked like a fantastic mix between old school, cyberpunk, and modern, and it just generally felt like a game that I would have a lot of fun with. It's with great disappointment then that I have to say the game just isn't something I'm enjoying. It's not that I think it's a bad game, it's just not the right kind of game for me as much as I wish it was. First, let's cover what I do like. I adore the graphics and the art style of the game. It has a fantasy/cyberpunk feel that makes me want to spend hours just wandering around looking at the different areas that are present. Enemy design is unique both in style and behavior, and I never felt like I was fighting the same thing too many times in a row. The audio of the game was also incredibly well designed. A well-mixed combination of ambient sound and a musical track gave the game the perfect amount of noise without detracting from the sounds of combat or opening containers. Sword swings and gunshots crack like they should, and dashing back and forth not only looks good, but sounds amazing as well. Hyper Light Drifter's startup screen recommends you use a controller, but I found no real benefit to one versus a keyboard and mouse during my play sessions. If you're the type who likes to sit back on the couch and relax, or if you like the feeling of hunching over a keyboard and mouse while you play games, both control methods work equally well. The gameplay in between combat events is slow and well-paced, while combat itself is frenetic as a dozen or more enemies descend upon you, each of them boasting a signature attack that varies wildly between species. You're forced to learn on the fly, restarting from your last save point when you die, and thankfully these save points occur often enough that repeatedly dying should theoretically be only a minor nuisance. In reality though, when you die 20 times in a row trying to figure out how to kill 10 ninja frogs that are all tossing throwing stars at you while leaping around like, well, a bunch of ninja frogs, having to restart again and again gets old before you know it. So the graphics are great, the art is amazing, the audio is wonderful, the controls are great, combat is fun if a bit tedious at times, so why is it I don't care for this game? I've struggled with this question many times over the last few days as I've tackled 3 of the 4 main areas in the game, destroying hundreds of low-level enemies, gathering power crystals, upgrading my attacks, and nearly coming face to face with a boss. In the end, it comes down to the simple fact that I just don't find the game itself to be very fun. Hyper Light Drifter is designed very much in the style of old-school Zelda games, except with even less direction and hand-holding. There are no directions given to you in verbal or audio form, the story is a vague suggestion, and the only clues for what you need to do and where you need to go in the game are given in the form of cryptic visual messages that interlink with pointers on the map of the game world. I was initially stymied by this lack of information, finding myself going around in circles for a good hour before it dawned on me what I was supposed to do to make some progress. Then once I started paying very close attention to the cryptic messages delivered in the form of a few slides, things became clearer, but I still felt a great deal of unease as I wandered around a mostly open world, wondering if I was actually making any progress towards my goal, whatever that goal might be, or whether I was still just spinning in circles. The best analogy I can make for Hyper Light Drifter is to compare it to abstract art. There are some who love abstract art, but I can't stand the stuff personally. When a piece of art is completely dependent upon me to find the entire purpose and meaning and direction, I can't help but have an undercurrent of despair as I ponder it, as my mind second-guesses my attempts to find that meaning and direction. And that's what I feel when I play Hyper Light Drifter. Yes, it's pleasant to look at, pleasant to listen to, and satisfying to finally figure out how to beat that crop of Bruce Lee-trained ninja frogs. When I'm doing that, though, I'm not sure what exactly I'm supposed to be doing as part of a larger goal. In open-world games like Fallout or The Elder Scrolls, I'll spend hours wandering around, exploring, looting, and fighting, but even in those times, I feel like there's a lot of direction involved. Whether it's breaking into computer terminals and reading emails sent back and forth between employees, or devouring book after book from the Imperial Library, wandering in those games has a purpose, even if it's just furthering the overall knowledge of the game world. In the back of my mind, I have an ultimate goal I'm working toward. In Hyper Light Drifter, I'm not entirely sure what the goal of the game is, so it's hard for me to devote time to deciphering riddles about the game world when I don't even know why I'm in the world or what I'm supposed to be doing. Priced at under $20 for a limited time right after its initial release, Hyper Light Drifter is worth it if it sounds like the type of game you'd love. And if you enjoy having a free-form, abstract game with beautiful art and sound design and a mysterious world to explore and figure out completely on your own, you'll probably love this game. Heck, I desperately want to love this game too. I've thrown down my controller more than once during my play sessions out of frustration from tough enemies or just general frustration with not knowing where to go next, but I keep going back to the game to try it again and again. I want to click with the game and to be able to look past the abstract nature and just enjoy all that it has to offer without any barriers, but I just can't seem to be able to. In the end though, that's a personal hang-up with me and shouldn't reflect poorly on the game whatsoever. I'm Mike and this has been Game Night with Mike. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again soon.